Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews. Today we are wrapping up The Cage. When Dr. Anton Sevarius, creator of the mutates, is kidnapped, everyone suspects the mutate leader, Talon, and for good reason. Sevarius turned him into a winged panther against his will. Kidnapping the doctor might bring about a cure. But things aren't quite what they seem. Circumstances can tempt even heroes into acting like villains. Will this tear the Maza family and the clan apart? You can catch up on the first half by reading or listening to it. Rocked and rolled. The trio returns to an ambush. However, they defeat the mutates. Now the chains are on the other creature. We've got Claw and Fang wrapped up. Brooklyn again tries to convince Maggie that Xanatos is bad news. She is still snowed. Brooklyn doesn't understand women, and she's not having any of this truth nonsense. In an interesting tactical decision, Brooklyn lets the mutates go. He reasons that they'll find out Xanatos' true character sooner or later. A lot of people never figure out other people's less-than-stellar characters, and the mutates want to believe what Xanatos says. I mean, what choice do they have but to side with him? And honestly, it's not like the clan can keep these guys locked up or restrained or chained in the clock tower. It's just not going to work. So, gotta catch and release. Vinny and Elisa are watching the security vid. It shows, well, what? Okay, it's pretty obvious it's Goliath, but we're supposed to be clueless. Yeah, I mean, that big long tail and kind of purple there, that's pretty clear. It's not even black and white footage. According to Greg, in Greg's ramble on the cage at Station 8, and there's a link in the blog there, he admits that there are a lot of identities given away too soon. To quote him, "The concept of seeing a character in shadows or partial silhouette just seemed tough to get across the ocean and back again with our production team on this episode." Yeah, remember back in Awakening how we've got Damona's silhouette, very clear and recognizable, yet we were supposed to be surprised when she appeared later? Yeah. In one of the rooms of the underground facility, Sevarius is cobbling together Mountain Dew. Wait, no, sorry, it's the cure. Finally, we see his kidnapper. Goliath? Wow, he's actually taken the direct route, like an antagonist would do. Props, man. And again, totally not a surprise who it is. Now, we've got the picture of the lab. Does this lab look familiar? Like maybe Genutech after Goliath and company stormed in to, quote, rescue the mutates? That hole in the ceiling is where Goliath escaped. Yep. And the cabinets and everything, it's the same. So that means it's just the animators recycling the frames, the cells. Collision course. In Xanatos' office, Xanatos is grilling Talon. If the mutate didn't take Sevarius, how'd he know the doc was alive? Well, because Talon was casing Genutech, and he heard the guard say Elisa that she just missed Anton. Hard to do that if the scientist was dead. Hey, they did change seats, Owen and Xanatos there. Cracks me up for some reason. They're such a phenomenal team, though. And Xanatos has his hand on his chair that Owen is occupying as he sort of leans casually there, trying to keep his cool during all this. Then David, Owen, and Talon watch the security footage that has since been enhanced. It shows Goliath taking Sevarius. Again, zoom and enhance is not really what you think it is. You're not going to improve resolution. You just can't. There's only so much that technology can do. Well, now, this is a bit unexpected that Goliath was behind it all. Xanatos asks Owen, with more than a little enthusiasm, if they can track Goliath. At least put a tracker on Anton. The game is afoot, and David is ready to play. Best of all, it involves his favorite playmate/opponent, Goliath. Ever calm and composed, Owen says that there's no need for tracking. The only lab Goliath knows about and can access is Cyberbiotics' underground research facility. I love it when Owen comes up with solutions. He does it so casually, too, like, hey, this is an obvious answer. At this, Talon blasts out. Now, I get the feeling from Owen's repeated suggestions to use force in various situations that he enjoys a good throwdown, or at least he enjoys seeing opponents subdued with force. I'm telling you, he is the dangerous one, not Xanatos. There they are, a picture of the boys. Owen's hot to go after him, but as usual, Xanatos reins in his wild tiger of a security chief. We'll let him lead the charge, Xanatos says. Meanwhile, Sevarius is grousing about Goliath hovering over his shoulder. It's the same complaint he had when Xanatos was breathing down his neck in Metamorphosis. Oh, and now the Mountain Dew is smoking. Ah, the classic chemistry scene. Real chemistry doesn't look like this, by the way. Just got some random beakers around and, yeah. No Bunsen burner. Nothing. Elisa walks in. And, oh, wonderful. Now there's two of you, Sevarius says. You cannot dislike Sevarius. Tim Curry is giving it his all, as always. Elisa lays into Goliath over kidnapping Sevarius. Poor Goliath, he just wanted to spare Elisa's pain. Besides, he couldn't just leave Sevarius out there. Talon was going to grab him. Well, that's a humanitarian hero. Well, what a humanitarian hero you are, Goliath. You kidnapped Sevarius for his own good. Pretty sure that's what people who, like I say, acquire and perform human resources. You kidnapped Sevarius for his own good. Yeah, pretty sure that's what people who, take people against their will and force them to do things justify their crimes. I forget now, how did Elisa figure out where Goliath was? I can't remember. Now, I really do feel sorry for Goliath. Oh well. His effort will have an unintended consequence that actually achieves part of his goal. Elisa tries to talk him into freeing the doc. The ends do not justify the means, she says. That's the way Xanatos behaves. Well, more importantly, they can't trust anything Sevarius makes. Goliath is of the opinion that threats will work wonders. Well, then Talon and company kick in the door. They see what they want. Goliath and Sevarius working together, just like Xanatos said they were. Ah, mad respect for Xanatos' ability to come up with a story. Wow, really. I mean, to make matters worse, Elisa is in on it with the dastardly pair. That's a nice entrance there of Talon. Goliath and Talon fight. Sevarius makes a run for it, but the mutates grab him. Now he's in trouble. Then Goliath ends up under a pile of rubble. Tensions escalate. Talon is about to execute Sevarius when then the doc thinks on his feet. For once, he tells them the vial in his hand is the antidote. There's only one serving, but he can make more. Maggie wants to believe he does have the cure, but the other mutates don't care anymore. Being a powerful, flying electric beast is kind of cool. The twist in this episode is that the mutates, other than Maggie, have come to terms with their condition, but Elisa and Goliath have not. Well, maybe Goliath has, but he's acting in Elisa's best interest, he thinks. This is like many terminally ill people. They often aren't all that surprised by the cancer or other fatal conditions diagnosis. They somehow already know. The people who take it hardest are frequently the family and friends. By the same token, the person with the diagnosis has accepted their mortality, while their family and friends are pushing them to receive treatment that often shortens the person's life and decreases the quality of the remaining days. Maggie protests. Is your vengeance more important than our humanity? Oh, another anti-vengeance episode. I like it. Sevarius tips his hand, though, when he says Talon should be the first to take it. Elisa points out it shouldn't matter who takes it. It's not the cure, it's poison. But Mags is still buying the antidote line. And we do have a nice little scene with Talon and Maggie coming to terms with each other's relationship and their loss of humanity, but their gaining of each other. And there's Sevarius. He's always so dramatic. He's acting for his life now. Truth will out. Things look bad for Sevarius. Until Xanatos appears, wearing exo battle armor and flanked by the Steel Clan. He shoots Fang at a low power setting that kicks the cat across the room. Well, that'll settle any rowdiness right down. Yeah, he ain't taking any chances. He's got a whole contingent of Steel Clan with him, and they all have their lasers up. Sevarius immediately takes shelter on Xanatos' side. Well, now the cat's out of the bag. Or is it? Xanatos could have possibly salvaged his story. It would have taken work, but it could have been done. Maybe. I think Xanatos was just finished with this failed experiment. It's become too labor-intensive. Yeah, I figure he could have said, look, I wanted to make sure that we still had Sevarius on our side for that cure that he is indeed working on. Yes, I promise. But I came with the armor and the robots because I figured Goliath might be rowdy or somebody. There might be some fight that I'd have to break up, or I'm trying to protect you or something. It wouldn't have to take a whole lot of mental gymnastics when they're already buying a lot of what he's selling and, still kind of trusting him. Xanatos apologizes to Talon that, quote, things turned out this way. We'd all be happier if you remained in the dark, but I couldn't let you damage Anton. He's a bit of a bother, but his mind represents infinite possibilities. Unquote. Damage. Sevarius is a tool in all meanings of the word. Xanatos sees him only as a means to an end. Anton is fine with this, though, judging by his smile. I guess it's good to be wanted. That's job security. And frankly, what job does not see you as a tool? Or what employer? A note on Sevarius. Sevarius doesn't really change from episode to episode. What does change is your knowledge of what he's capable of and what kind of person he is. I don't think he's wantonly cruel, like torturing people. He just likes to push the scientific end. He's like the scientists who worked and work on biowarfare programs. They don't think about the suffering their creations will cause. They don't consider that they made enough contagions to wipe out the population of the Earth many times over. If they consider the ramifications of their discovery, they justify them as being in the defense of their country or a way to earn a buck. Yeah, sadly. And with Sevarius, it really is more of just him having fun getting this thing done, doing the project, and he doesn't think that ethics are really necessary in science. He just wants to see how far he can go, and he can go far. Hey, if you want a first-hand account from a man who helped build and run the Soviet Union's classified biopreparat germ warfare division, read Biohazard, the chilling true story of the largest covert biological weapons program in the world, told from the inside man who ran it, by Ken Alibek, or Kenetjan Alibekov, as his non-Americanized name is. Very good book. Germs, Biological Weapons in America's Secret War, by Judith Miller and William J. Broad and Stephen Engelberg, is also a gripping read. Sevarius is the epitome of science without ethics. He's like Frankenstein, playing God but not wanting to take the responsibility of a god for his creations. The thrill is the act of creation, not the aftermath. Even situations like this, he simply writes off as an adventure that he survived. After all, being locked in an oil tank and almost being turned into a barbecue dish didn't deter him from working on Genutech's projects. He is incorrigible, and we love him for it. Well, and we love him because Tim Curry is his voice actor. And there's Xanatos. He's just called Sevarius a bother, but said his mind was useful. And that's the look Anton has. He's like admiringly looking at Xanatos. Well, Talon is shocked by all this. Xanatos is dismissive. He's the scientist. You're just the experiment. Oh, harsh but true. Now, see, Xanatos specifically just was done with this. He ended it because, yeah, you don't say those things if you want to keep this going. You want to make sure that it was clear. After a snarky hello to Goliath, who's waking up in the rubble heap, Xanatos, Sevarius, and the Steel Clan depart. And, I also think he said that partially because Elisa was there and he kind of wanted to just, rub some salt in the wound. Not for vengeance or anything, just for fun. Yeah. Now, Talon is pretty distraught, and Elisa's trying to comfort him. Yes, we know your outfit is lame, buddy. No need to cry, though. You can always wear a ratty loincloth like the Gargoyles. Denial isn't just a river in Egypt for Maggie. She's still convinced that Mountain Dew is the cure. No, it is poison, okay? It's just like the real Mountain Dew. I mean, that stuff, yeah. Talon then appeals to her emotions. He needs her. He says, way to guilt her, dude. We're not strong alone, we're strong together, he says. She decides against trying the new flavor of Dew. It ends with Elisa introducing Maggie and Talon to the rest of the Maza clan. Derek will be home for Christmas. And of course everyone is accepting. One big happy family. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, now everyone is free of their cages, self-imposed and otherwise. A little life application for you. I don't usually do this in the Gargoyles reviews, though I have done this a lot with other villains on this blog. This episode is a good chance to look at your life and its cages. What's limiting you? If you're not sure, start looking at your rationalizations, aka excuses for why you don't do or you do certain things. Weak people quit when their going gets tough. They'll always have a rationalization, though, always have an excuse. Are there relationship issues you need to hash out? Are there secrets you shouldn't keep? Is there a dream you've been too afraid to pursue? When you recognize your cage, you can start to pick the lock, or blow the door off its hinges. It's up to you. Final thoughts. And so ends Xanatos, the Xanatos Mutates Alliance. It was nice while it lasted, I guess. I still don't know what exactly he wanted them hanging around for, eating him out of house and home. The best guess I have is that it was the same reason people have pets. I'm not sure what that is either, though. So, perhaps he had a plan in the works. Maybe he liked the novelty, like having a fish tank, or was it the pleasure of having Elisa's brother under his control? I don't think he's too broken up about losing them. I'm sure he's not happy about it, but given how usually we get a Xanatos tag ending that explains how he won, and I know we didn't get one here, but still, he'll probably just shrug it all off as an experiment that didn't work quite as he hoped. Hey, at least they didn't steal $20 million and try and kill you. That's the nature of the experiment. Well, that's the nature of experiments. We already know the experiments produced serum that can mutate humans in a controlled way. Look at Wolf. He's not an eel cat bat. He's a wolf man. What else can you do with that formula? I wonder. Probably a lot, and there's probably a lot of countries that have questionable morals that would pay a lot to have a serum that could make super soldiers like that, dogmen type soldiers. America would be one of those countries. Now, what will become of the mutates? They decided not to stay with the clan. No surprise. It would have been really hard on the writers had they done that. And what of the Maza family? They seem cool with it all now, but what will happen when they have a fridge moment? They're in shock now, but that won't last. Will Peter loop out and hunt down Xanatos and Sevarius? Or did Elisa and Derek decide to lie by omission and avoid telling them exactly how their son ended up as a flying cat? Well, only time will tell. It's amusing that Goliath tricked Xanatos for once. Xanatos was miles down the Talon kidnapped Sevarius trail. And then again, who would suspect Goliath of kidnapping? Next episode, we look at The Price. It's one of my favorite episodes. It tackles heavy issues with Xanatos and Hudson on opposite sides of the question. Choices will be made. Prices will be paid. The price will be high for one unlikely person. So what did you think of today's episode? Did you think that it would end like that? Did you think that Xanatos would try and string him on a little bit longer? Did you think, or do you think that Sevarius even has a cure? Like, is that something that can be undone, Did you like the fact that Goliath played the antagonist a bit here? Well, you can comment here. You can comment on the blog. Remember to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.